Hi, welcome back to our Grove Discipleship series where we're talking about what it means to be a fully devoted, world-changing follower of Jesus Christ. We've been talking about the gospel for the last few sessions. First, we just talked about how it's the basics. If we're going to be a fully devoted follower, we need to make sure we are a follower, that we really understand the gospel and have received it into our lives. And then we talked last week about how once you have done that, you can be secure in your salvation. You can know that once you become a child of God, you will remain a child of God, that you're secure. But what can still happen to us is that we can still feel uneasy. We can still feel uneasy. It's like, well, if you really given your life to Christ, you're His forever. Well, did I ever really do that? Was I ever a Christian? You can still have these kinds of doubts. And so what I want us to do is to kind of talk about two different issues. Last time we talked about security of salvation, and that is a fact. And that fact is everyone who receives Christ remains with Christ forever. The other thing we're talking about today is assurance of salvation, and that is kind of a subjective feeling that I have as to whether or not I know or think that I am. Okay, and so one is a fact and one is a feeling. And so it is a fact that all believers are secure. How you feel about that may change. And there's a verse we're going to look at today, 1 John 5:13, where John says this, "I write these things to you who believe in the name of the Son of God, so that you may know that you have eternal life." His goal in writing this entire letter was so that these people would know about their salvation, that they could be secure. And so, well, what are the evidence? How can I really know? Well, a lot of it has to do with how you live your life. When you live your life in a way that is honoring to God and you're doing and being who God's called you to, you're going to have better feelings about it. It doesn't change the facts, but the closer you are with God, the stronger your assurance is going to be. So if we are feeling insecure, that's probably a good sign that we need to be reaching out more to God in the relationship. And so I want to illustrate it this way. I want to imagine that this is us reaching up to God. And again, I am terrible at drawing. So we're reaching up to God with two hands. This one is security, and this one is assurance. If we are reaching out to God with just one hand, and that security, man, it's true. It's no matter what. And God's got me. He's not going to let go because it's His grip that's holding on to me. But I feel insecure. But if I also have assurance that I'm feeling good about my relationship with God, I'm reaching out to Him with both hands, then not only is it true, God's got me, but I also have assurance. I feel confident. And that confidence, that's going to be kind of one of the goals of this series, is helping us to feel confident in knowing who we are as solid believers and followers of Jesus Christ. So an illustration I like to use is like when you're walking with a toddler in the parking lot. When you're walking with a toddler in the parking lot and you're holding hands with them, you're not really holding hands. At least I didn't. I was holding wrist because there was nothing that they could do to get away from me. I had them by the wrist. There was nothing they could do to get away. It didn't matter how well they were holding on to my hand. They were safe with me in the parking lot. And so they might be darting around wishing they could run and do all sorts of crazy stuff, but they're safe regardless. But what makes our relationship better is when she holds my hand back. And that shows that she trusts me, that she's with me, that we're together, and that we have good relationship. It's the same with God. He's got you by the wrist. He will not let you go. But when we hold His hand back, or in this illustration, we're holding on to Him with both hands, then we can feel more secure. So if we want to feel more secure, we're feeling a little bit insecure, it probably means some bad habits have creeped in, or some good habits need to start creeping in. And we need to be living a different way because the more we're doing for God and the more that we're responding to God and loving God and pursuing God, the more the assurance will follow the fact of security. So why don't you spend some time just talking about the difference between security and assurance and what does it really mean for me to feel secure? And maybe just have some good conversation about how secure do I feel right now. Thanks for being with us.